And 1-1 is how it finished in Ruben Amorim's first game in charge of Manchester United. Here are the stats from that game. The highest Ipswich XG so far this season. Manchester United with 11 shots, 4 of them on target. Only one of those came in the second half. Their XG of 0.9 is their third lowest of this season. The distance that they ran of 102 kilometres, their second lowest of the season, but it finished all square at Portman Road. Roy, there hasn't been a lot of time for Ruben Amorim to put in all the changes that he'll want to see from this Manchester United side. Did you see what he will want to do in the future?
Yeah, well, we saw obviously the shape of the team. That's the way he's going to go. But you still have the same players out there and the same problems. And we talk about leopards and spots. The issue with United over the last year or two: lack of goals, lack of quality in the second half. We're looking at Ipswich, who haven't won all season at home, and they looked a better team. And if any team was going to win, you felt Ipswich were going to win it. So I think it's his first game, a lot to take in. It's been a mad week or two for him, but I think ultimately he'll be disappointed. I think again with the lack of quality in the final third for Man United, and towards the end of the game, if anyone was going to win it, I thought it was going to be Ipswich, which is a big concern.
Roy has described Manchester United at times this season as a team of moments. They're looking for consistency. Does this look like a squad who can get to those levels of consistency?
Well, I think, you're spot on with the moments comment, because I think that what I haven't seen in this Manchester United team for a long time is like relationships. Players that combine well with each other, players that create things, off the cuff, but also by design as well. And they've got a manager in now who's got a record for design. He's got this system that he believes heavily in, that he wants to bring to Manchester United. We saw it this evening. Did it work? No, because they didn't win. And ultimately, I think what Ruben Amorim wants to be doing is he wants to be winning whilst learning on the job with this group of players. Did he have his best available 11 out today? No. But I think we have to give huge credit to Kieran McKenna and Ipswich, because I thought that the way they played, it was exceptional at times. I thought they were brave, that they didn't let the heads drop. And I think ultimately they showed Manchester United, how it looks to be a team that's connected.
We will look at Ipswich in more detail, because it was a really, really good performance from them, and we'll talk more about the influence that Kieran McKenna has shortly as well. But in terms of Ruben Amorim and the stamp that he wants to put on Manchester United, and the problems that he has to solve, is goal scoring the biggest one, Jamie?
Yeah, of course they've not got enough goals. They've got quality in the team, but there's a lot of problems you have to solve. And I'm already fed up talking about this system that he's going to employ. I am. It's because
day one, Jamie.
But Kelly, this is the players that are in this system right now are not going to be the players in the future. You're not going to see Johnny Evans as a left side centre back. You're not going to see Mazraoui. You're not going to see the two wing backs probably, who obviously they're both opposite footed and they're playing on the outside. Is that midfield going to be Casemiro and Eriksen? Of course it isn't. So you're going to try and analyse it. It's almost pointless, because the system is going to change, because the players are going to change and the personnel, and then they're going to look better. In a way, the best thing that can probably happen is not get fooled by these players right now, because after 2 minutes we're looking and thinking, wow, the Messiah's here, everything's going to change, look how good they look. But then they became their true self in the end, and they see that the quality isn't there. So this is going to take time. It's going to take new personnel. He's going to have to figure it out. He's going to be changing the team probably week in, week out, searching for who is going to be the right people in this system. And once he gets that, then he has a chance. But right now, you couldn't pick the team that's going to be there in 6 months, because you don't know who's going to fit into what he wants.
Yeah, there are a lot of players in that side who, again, to go back to the point, have moments of quality in them. Are there enough players in the squad who have quality consistently?
No. That's the big problem. Again, this team for last year or two, it's all about moments. We saw with the first goal after the minute, you think, well, listen, great start, a bit of quality, a bit of pace, nice finish from Marcus, getting into the areas you want him to be. And then United just sat back and you're going, you almost feel like, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Ipswich are a team near the bottom, obviously on the back of a good result at Spurs, but the home record not great. Go after them as if United are almost fearful of going on to win the game. The manager obviously made lots of changes in the second half, and to be fair, you're thinking, listen, he's obviously trying to win the game and he's still trying to get to know these players. But I suppose at United, the business of the league, their results, they probably maybe lack that confidence and belief. But do I believe this group of players have the quality to start getting Man United back up towards top 4, top 5? I've been saying it for ages. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I know you're sick of talking about the
I'm
system.
not, Kelly,
But also, Ruben Amorim is
that.
look, everybody's talking about the system. But it was the system that led to the first goal, because it was the flying wing back, and it was straight to the striker.
Yeah, and that was a positive start they had.
Yeah.
But also he's seen the other side here. I've been a Man United manager. The demands. Yeah, he's a coach. He's a coach, and obviously that's his job title. But we saw at the start of the game, I bet you couldn't have dreamed of a start like this. The first minute of the game, very attacking, positive football, players running, exciting young players of Man United. Brilliant play. And we get Rashford, who we've been critical of a little bit, not getting enough goals. A dream start. But we see the manager, the pressure at Man United to Sporting, chalk and cheese.
And they've been struggling for goals so far this season. Look, as much as that may not have been the cleanest of contact from Amad Diallo, it was an early goal for Manchester United, and it did come from that setup. Is that one of the positives that you were asking Amorim about, that he can take forward?
Yeah, without doubt. And I think that this goal comes from design. The way that they built out from the back. We speak a lot in football about building from the back, but there's got to be a purpose. And ultimately, that's the perfect goal, because they've actually scored from a goal kick, essentially. And that is a benefit of that system. I mean, we're not just talking about Ruben Amorim and, coming to United and playing a 3-4-3. That other managers do play a 3-4-3 as well. We're just analysing it a lot because it's Manchester United. Yeah. But
we hadn't seen them by that point, so we had to talk about something.
Exactly. And we needed to speak about the change that was going to occur, because the new managers come in and there's going to be change, and we're all fascinated by that. But ultimately, he would have been, delighted with that start, and it comes from exactly that. They're playing out, they're direct, they had runners, intensity, but for some reason they just dropped off after that goal, and they reduced the intensity, and then it showed in the game.
It'd be interesting to see as well, when did this system going forward, whether you will have whether the two, like Dalot and Amad, will be, obviously Amad is left-footed and Dalot is predominantly right-footed, whether he wants to go that way or whether he would want to go with left-footed wing-back or the right-footed wing-back and make it more of a natural thing. Obviously, with the way the game's progressed, normally your wingers, it's better because they come inside, but then you have full-backs overlapping them. So unless you get one of your three centre-backs coming out overlapping, I don't know how that's quite going to work. So that's going to be something we're only going to see as the personnel changes and what he gets in his plays. There's going to be other players that he's going to look at and give them an opportunity. One thing I really like that he said there, which was really important, the good thing is he has to start now, straight away, because if he waits and maybe says, this team's been playing with a back four and he has 6 months doing them, they're not going to change. So he might as well work on it now, and we have to accept that there's going to be some highs, some lows. It's not always going to be perfect. So I think that was the most sensible thing I took certainly from that conversation.
That's ideal, yeah. He has to go with the way he wants to go. Again, people say, you need a pre-season. No, you learn. You learn at weekends how tough it's going to be, because United have been so poor anyway. So if that's what he believes in, then go with it, obviously. Their confidence would have been up, obviously, on the back of the win against Spurs. They're 6 draws. They're still trying to find their feet. But I like what they saw. There was enough energy. There was enough quality. Of course, you're always hoping for the teams that just come up to be more of a goal threat. Obviously, the manager made substitutions. I think Ipswich should be delighted. And you'd only get confidence in performances like that. In an ideal world, obviously, you want to win football matches. But to draw against Man United and compete with them and show quality, they'll be delighted, Ipswich. And they certainly at least deserve the draw.
Yeah, great. I think I've been very impressed with him. I've spent a little bit of time with him this week, and I think the question that Izzy asked him was a great question: adaptability and making sure that you are difficult to beat. You watch a lot of games in the Premier League with teams that come up and they play out from the back and they lose goals, and we all go, well, it's my philosophy. It can't be your philosophy if you're losing games. And what he's done is he realises we've got a big centre forward. At times, if we're under a bit of pressure, there's a moment 65 minutes into the game, I remember looking at the clock, and I thought that it was a big, that they were just under a little bit of pressure, and he thought, let's alleviate that, let's go be direct, let's work on a second ball, and at times you have to do that. And to some that might sound a little bit old-fashioned, but that's what I would call knowing the game, football intelligence, and I think that's something that Ipswich do really well. They'll also play from the back when it's the right time, but when you're under a little bit of pressure in this league, and if you're going to give goals away, make sure that they have to really work hard for them. And that's something that I think he's done really well. And they've been in every game except for the West Ham one. I think his team have been excellent, Roy.
Yeah, he's very, very smart. Obviously, an intelligent guy, and he's obviously got good grounding. And also the mindset for Ipswich. When you've had back-to-back promotions, you're used to winning week in, week out. Just to change that mindset, and also be, even a few draws they've had in the Premiership, be satisfied with that, because you're not going to win most weeks in the Premiership. So they've adapted that well with a difficult start. And I think they're going along nicely. And he spoke well, and they have adapted well. They are hard to beat, and that's a good starting position to have.
On adaptability and football intelligence, obviously he means that within the game, but it's also in terms of preparing for the game where his own football intelligence comes in, and he's had to do that with this Manchester United. We know what Ruben Amorim's system is going to be, but it's an unknown quantity. He's not seen it in action yet.
Yeah, of course. So it was probably strange for them and for Man United having a new manager, and then for Ipswich to be a goal down after a minute or two. That could have set them back a little bit, but it showed a lot of maturity. And again, I'll go back to that football intelligence. They didn't panic. They worked their way back into the game. They deserved the equaliser. They probably should have scored just before that, and unlucky not to want to win the game. So Kieran would be delighted tonight with the group of players, the effort they've put in. Again, back-to-back promotions, coming up to the Premiership, the challenges they'd faced. They had a difficult start, some tough games, but they've kept a good spirit amongst themselves, and they're in with a chance of winning football matches.
I like the captain as well. Sorry,
No,
Izzy.
go for it.
I'm a big fan of Sam Morsy in midfield. You could see that he's obviously got that little bit of, in the nicest possible, he's got a bit of dog in him, and I like that. He goes and wins tackles, but he could also play in midfield. He gives you exactly the edge that you need. He does play on the edge, but you can see why the manager likes him, trusts him, and he's looked very comfortable in this league. Sometimes as a player, he's probably watched the Premier League last few years. Can I handle it? When I see these players, am I good enough to play? He's more than good enough, and I think he's been excellent in midfield. They were very combative, but they also kept the ball really well. I thought it was just a really good performance from Ipswich today.
Kieran McKenna said he hadn't seen some of the Onana saves back, so let's take a look at them and just to underline how good the chances that Ipswich managed to create were.
Yeah, this is brilliant from Leif Davis, finding himself in a really advanced position, a really intelligent little pass. The movement from Delap creates it. We get a fantastic angle. Here, this is Ahmed tracking back. He just doesn't get the line of the run correct, which, fair enough, because it's new to him playing that system. But listen, this save, you sit in two camps here. You sit in the camp of he has to bury that, and you sit in the camp of that is an exceptional save. And the way he pulls his hand out at the last minute, Onana, it was superb.
Yeah, he wasn't sure if one of them was quite the save that he thought it was, but he was asking.
If you're a striker, you think obviously you should score from a goalkeeper's point of view. But again, good play from Ipswich. Nice and simple, effective football, getting the balls in the box, getting crosses. He tried a little flick, and again, all credit to the goalkeeper. Very good play, very simple, very effective. Get the ball wide, get crossed in the box. You've got a striker attacking it, and again, unlucky not to score.
I mean, he says Liam Delap is still improving. You asked about him, Jamie. Already, how impressed are you with him, even if there is more to come?
Yeah, Roy and I, we both played with his dad, and his dad was obviously a full-back midfielder at times. This guy is almost a throwback centre forward, number 9, but I really like how he plays. He's got great movement, he's energetic, he's brave, he's strong, he's a proper specimen as well. The size of him, he's so hard to push off the ball. This was a lovely piece of play in the second half. He plays a little one with the outside of his right foot here. But I was very impressed with him all game. He's a proper handful.
He was
and you can see he was excellent today, Roy, wasn't he?
You wouldn't want to play against him. I bet United defenders, knowing they've had a tough game again today against him. And all his work rate. Sometimes the players got a lot of work rate and are good outside the box and they're not great. He's got a bit of everything. Great potential, that kid.
You asked Kieran McKenna about improving and adapting to the Premier League, learning a little bit about it every week. Presumably that's because that's what you've seen from them. Are they learning quickly enough to kind of give them hope of staying up this season?
Yeah, of course. And it's not just kind of being polite to him. You see that in the results and the performances. Again, it's the first time I've seen him live, but you've seen games on the TV. And he goes back to the first game against Liverpool where they did look strong in the first half, but lost away. And you looked and went, it's going to be a tough season ahead for them. They were a bit naive in their play. And again, players still adapting, I suppose, to the pace of the Premiership. And they were up against Liverpool that day. But gradually, over the last month or two, they have got better, and that's what you want for your team. That's what United manager want from his team the next few months. Can I get improvement in the team and adapt into the Premiership? The demands, physically, mentally, and again, when you look at Ipswich today, they looked decent. They look like they can deal with the ball, and their fitness levels are pretty good. Now, let me tell you, put that in the mix. That's a good place to start.
You compare it to Southampton we watched earlier against Liverpool, and you go, they have an identified style, and they're pretty set on playing that way. Whereas Ipswich adapt. They're both in the bottom 3. Ipswich just. But you go and hang on a minute, which team looks more likely to stay up at the moment? You go Ipswich. And I can only see Ipswich, based on this performance that we've seen this evening, only getting better.
But he would play it down a little.
And he's completely, sure about the fact that he's okay with draws. Because he's okay to just keep picking up points and keep rolling, and he's.
But he'd still want 1 or 2 of them wins at home, won't he? Just because obviously there was a good atmosphere today. The fans are right behind him, obviously with the couple of seasons they've had. But he will still be desperate to get that that 1 or 2 wins under his belt at home. Certainly.
And I think the running stats are really important to him as well. They're the top in terms of high intensity running. They will run more than any other team, and then at times they won't have the quality of the top teams. But I tell you what, they make you play under a lot of duress. They make you play at times when it's difficult, and if you don't quite get your passing right, they will catch you out. And I think that's credit to the manager that he wants his team to do that, and they all implement it and they all run hard.
Well, Ruben Amorim said it. He didn't quite go as far as giving us the cliche of there's no easy games in the Premier League, but that's what he was saying when he was talking to us. And the games that Man United have coming up are games in which they are all going to have to learn on the job.
Yeah, and again, the same for the manager. You know, managers come out from obviously from other leagues, and they hear about the Premiership, and they say, "Oh, it's going to be tough, and it's 100 miles an hour stuff." But I still think he would have been shocked by today. I still think for an experienced manager, look at the games coming up. Listen, for Man United, you're not going to say any really them. Do any of them look easy? Maybe a couple of European games don't look too bad, but in terms of the league games, listen, there's no guarantee Man United are going to turn up and win football matches because the lack of goal threat at the moment. They're not turning up scoring 2 or 3 goals today. We saw Liverpool today, who I didn't think played particularly well, and they scored 3 goals. So United are certainly under pressure at this moment in time. But credit to the manager when he came out, he's very honest. He looked shattered, didn't he?
Yeah.
But you're like, welcome to the Premier League.
He's had a long couple of weeks, hasn't he?
He's
Just moved country, moved jobs,
Yeah.
like
Bit
learned
of jet
a whole
lag,
new look.
yeah,
It's a
jet
long way
lag
to
with the
Ipswich.
other
Jet lag
lads
from
from America.
Portugal.
Yeah, of course.
He said he
long way
hated
to
the
Ipswich.
sorry, go.
No, go.
He said he didn't like the sort of scrutiny and having to talk and all the press conferences. Unfortunately, when you're the manager of Man United, that's the price on the ticket. You've got to get used to that, and you've got to make sure you come out and you're ready for everything that gets thrown at you. And if you're not, then you're certainly at the wrong club.
It will be particularly busy over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, but it won't
as he comes in
change.
brand new
Royal,
as
no,
well.
you're manager of one of the biggest clubs in the world.
But you know, he'd probably he wants some money to spend in January. That's the big. He's probably want 200 million to spend or to come this summer. But he will look at these players, and again, there's big problems there, big issues.
Well, I ask you, if you were to say that in 6 months' time, how many of those players that we saw today will be started? What would be your guess?
Yeah, well, listen, it's well and good talking about getting players in, but the other issue obviously is getting players out. That's going to be a big problem. But again, he's been there a week. Give me a chance.
And he's not quite at the negotiating for a transfer budget at this stage, one game into the season, but he might just be thinking about it at the moment. Look, there are managers on that list who have had money to spend and have had a lot of money to spend, and there's a couple of second place finishes in there, one under Solskjaer, one under Jose Mourinho. But since Sir Alex Ferguson, there hasn't been a Premier League title. So what would be coming in now at this stage of the season, coming in November, what would be success for him this season, for Amorim?
I think, listen, good question again. Try and have
The thing with the title is, the title needs to be forgotten about for now, because if you want to get better, you've still got to leapfrog Aston Villa, Brighton, Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, City. There's a lot of teams there who are doing exceptional things on the football pitch. Manchester United are a long way off that, so it's almost like, do they become a cup team? But that's what they've been.
That's what they've been, and in terms of their league position, their league form, we're looking again today. Man United are, at this moment in time, whatever the problems are an average Premier League team. Average. There's so many teams way ahead of them. Again, you've mentioned a few there. Yeah, there's a long way to go for this United team. Huge job for the manager, huge job, and again, we keep saying it. Listen, hopefully he can get it sorted.
Can he challenge for the top 6, do you think?
This season? Yeah, I think he can. I think there's a lot of inconsistency of all the teams. I think we've seen it this season. Certainly, look at what Tottenham did to Manchester City yesterday, and then you'll see that Crystal Palace then can beat Tottenham, and there is going to be that. And if he finds the right team and the right personnel, there's no reason why they can't go on the run, because they will improve under him, because they've been rotten under the previous manager. But I think there will come improvements.
Lack of goals, though, Jamie. Lack of goals for the last couple of years.
But it only takes one
which
person
one is
to
it?
catch. That's what I'm saying.
We've been waiting for 1 or 2 years for one player to step up and take control of that.
If you looked at that today and you thought, OK, they're going to play that system and your focal point is going to be Marcus Rashford as that number 9, look, I didn't see that working today. I know we're judging him on one game, but there were times when the balls come in. If you look at the opposite side of the scale, where you look at Delap when it comes up to him and he's making himself a nuisance, he's getting hold of it, bringing people into play. That isn't Marcus's game. He wants to play off the side and where it's a little bit easier to come in and shoot and do his thing. But as a number 9, he didn't look. I don't think going forward that's going to be a hard position for him to do if you wanted to bring people into play. I don't mean that's his strengths.
It may not have been the prettiest or the easiest of victories, but it's 3 points that takes Liverpool 8 points clear at the top of the table. If we put this into comparison where teams have been at this stage in the season, when teams have had this lead, they've gone on to win the Premier League title. Manchester United, the only side to have had a bigger lead at this stage, and they went on to win it. Could they be in any better position, really, Jamie?
No, it's been a dream start for them. You know, the fact that Manchester City is struggling, Arsenal have obviously struggled with injuries. It feels it's perfect for them right now. Now, who knows? Liverpool might get an injury. They might have to suffer for a little while. But today was just about getting that 3 points. It was a tough game. They weren't vintage. It wasn't pretty. They could have been 3-1 down if that penalty would have been given, and then you're looking at it thinking, what a nightmare after what happened with Manchester City gifting you yesterday. But so far for Arne Slot, that is exactly where you want to be. You're in a great position coming up to Christmas. Keep everybody fit and just keep ticking over. Roy, you've done it plenty of times.
And you know what? You obviously want to play well every week if you can, but Liverpool Porto. But you also got great satisfaction in getting a result when you've not been at your very best. And I thought Liverpool weren't great today, but I go back to it. Scored 3 goals, huge win, 8 points clear. I bet you they can't believe it. The start of the season, what's happened to the other teams, but Liverpool took full advantage of it. They've been excellent. They had the one blip against Forest.
Mm-hmm.
Liverpool have been excellent. Big goal threat. Again, bit of luck with injuries. What a chance to ever winning this title.
Is he in a title race, as Roy says? How important are those games where you haven't played well and get the victory? How much are they sort of indicators of the way that a season is going?
Yeah, they're integral really to a title charge. But I think the other significance around that win today for Liverpool was it's the first game back after international break. You've not had the players together for a while. You don't know the state of the players' fitness levels when they come back in. And Southampton really made them work for it. They really did. Liverpool, I thought, to start the game, they got lucky. Russell Martin alluded to that in his interview around, he's disappointed with the cheap goals they conceded, particularly the first one, Szoboszlai's goal, great finish, but the way that, Southampton caused that issue was fortuitous for Liverpool, but they punished them, and that's what good teams do. And everything looks really smooth now for Liverpool. I'm sure there'll be bumps in the road, of course, but I think, it's a dream start. And it's also questioning, can Chelsea, can Arsenal? Can Arsenal really capitalise on this blip for Manchester City? Because it's not often we say that they've lost 5 in a row.
Well, that's what's quite interesting about this title race is that this morning, after City's defeat and Arsenal's win before Liverpool's game, Liverpool were favourites, Arsenal second favourites, and Manchester City third favourites at this stage for the Premier League title. Now, look, as we've all said, this City side have shown at various stages that they can go on these incredible winning runs. So we're not saying it's a done deal, Jamie, but it's still an unusual position for them to be in.
Yeah, but I make them right. That I would see it as Arsenal and Liverpool are the 2 best sides right now. Manchester City, I don't want to be foolish and write them off, because you write them off at your peril because of what they've done in the history. They're one of the best sides I've ever seen, but they're not there. They're not. The Kevin De Bruyne is not the Kevin De Bruyne of 5 years ago that could just turn a game and win it on his own. In terms of no Rodri, no Kovacic for a month, it's going to be incredibly hard for them. Can they still win the title? Absolutely, but I don't think they're going to win it in a way where they're going to go 16, 17 wins on the bounce. I don't think they're capable, this team, of doing that.
It's just not the defeats for Man City. It's the way they're losing the games, that lack of intensity in terms of defending and really defending your goal. Talk about the goals, the chances they're conceding. See how well Liverpool have done. And again, all them snippets you've just mentioned there, the couple of injuries, players all getting a bit older, Pep, the success over the last few years, it's actually surprised me it's took them this long to have such a really bad spell. The success they've had the last 4 or 5 years is fantastic. So to me, this is the most natural thing in the world, that you're going to have some sort of dip. Now, Man City's dip is they're still a very good team to watch and they'll still be a threat. But I really think it'll be very difficult for Man City to win the league this year with the performances, and a lot of their top players who perform week in, week out. Too many of them are just off it, and of course the injury to Rodri is huge. He's such a big player for him, not just his quality, but that physical presence in the middle of the park. They look lost in midfield without him, absolutely lost.
It's been a Premier League blockbuster over the last few years, Liverpool, Manchester City, especially at Anfield. And a lot of those times, Manchester City have gone in as favourites and not got the result that they wanted. This is going to be a change next weekend, because Liverpool are going to be the favourites. So that brings an expectation, brings a little bit of pressure, maybe brings an extra pressure from the fans as well. They might have to be a bit more patient. But I think if you look to that City side in midfield, yes, indeed, they couldn't live with Tottenham's intensity. And I think that will be a big factor for Liverpool next week.
If you think Liverpool can beat them next week and turn up, and Liverpool are at their very best, and obviously the fans are behind them, and they do beat Man City, what a statement that would be next weekend for Man City to be so far behind. It would be over for them next week if they lose to Liverpool. So it's a big test for Liverpool. dealing with that expectation. And we'll see Man City. Are we actually thinking of writing them off? Yes, we are, because of their performances. Can they bounce back next week?
Yeah, after 5 defeats on the spin, we will find out if Manchester City can turn it around. And as you say, what a game it would be to turn it around for them.